begin this, Wendy, again, this is Trisha's text message to me. She said, it isn't working. I keep trying to pick it up and it doesn't work. I don't know what's happened. My signal in the middle of the day today. The only thing I can do is text and email, no calls or no computer connections. I think the speed drops off significantly after the end of the day. And she said, is Rosa in New York? Can she help? And she sent me a little blurb about the Harbor School, so I can read that later if you want. But I don't know if Lucian, can you call Trisha directly and see if you can talk to her on the phone?
I got a text from her as well, and she is trying, but it's not working. So I think we're good. We can just go ahead since it is 6:20.
Yeah, I mean, she can call if she can use her phone. She's free to call in the number and connect, and I'll move her over as a call-in user if that's easier for her.
Okay, I'll let her know. Okay, just texted her. Okay, but since I've never started a meeting, can I ask like one of our more experienced people to start it off officially?
And welcome Hi everyone. This is Wendy Chapman from Youth and Ed Committee. I'm sorry that Trisha, the co-chair, isn't, and our leader isn't on the line. Hopefully she'll be able to call in a second. It sounds like we're not going to have a resolution tonight, given that we're having so many people having connection issues. But Rosa, take it away with some updates that you know with 150 and other things on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Wendy. And so I did send the link over to our principal, Nico. I don't know if he is in attendance right now for PS 150. I sent him my link, and I hope that's okay, Lucian. And I'm also going to ask Morton to come and help out with this, be my partner on this, because Morton has also separately from me walked the location. And I know Betty and Lucian, you guys have walked the location now as well. So we can discuss the street safety issues, which I think there are several of.
I'll be happy to. Nico is here. I've just moved him over. So Nico, you're free to unmute yourself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for everything you do for our school. I really appreciate it.
Hi, Nico. Good to see you.
Happy summer.
Hi, Nico.
Oh, good to hear you, rather.
Hi, I'm coming. There I am. Hi, summer mode. How are you guys?
Good.
I saw Betty today. Hi,
awesome.
Betty.
Who did you see?
Betty.
Oh, Betty.
Chair of Transportation.
I'd love to hear, what was your impression? Is it slow traffic or, it's not, it's not September yet, but are you feeling good about how you're going to manage?
There are definitely some concerns that we voiced to Department of Transportation. They seem pretty amenable to the things that we requested. The big asks were, the exit from the tunnel is closed currently from 6 to 10 a.m. And we asked for a long stretch in the afternoon for it to be closed as well. And they said that they received a lot of pushback from the MTA about that, because a lot of buses they need to navigate around the school. But they did say that they could ask for a shorter window during afternoon dismissal, that they could close that tunnel exit, which we're very happy about. We also, another one of the big items that we requested was a crossing guard. Apparently the first precinct has budgeted for it and has the funds for it, but there are nobody's applying for the role. And so Manhattan Borough President Mark Levine had said to Surge St. Leger that, is it a funding issue? Is it that the pay isn't enough for school crossing guards? And so that's out of my purview. I just said,
This is Wendy Chapman again.
Hey, Wendy.
I've been on I actually applied to be a crossing guard a few years ago before the pandemic to see what the process was. It is a very difficult process. So this is also a job that the police, they don't care about. So just applying and this was pre-pandemic. So, anything could be different now, but it took many months for me to even I sent my resume in to get interviewed, then to get the physical and to go through the background check. I mean, I was just close of, I mean, honestly, I'll be honest with you. I did it as an experiment to see how long it could take to get me hired. It's not set up to work as a user, so I think this is not a funding issue. It's also it's hard to find out about. It's hard to navigate. So we could put more pressure on this in some way.
I mean, I think that was their go-to response is no one's applying for the job.
Well, and I will just tell you, having applied pre-pandemic, it's a nightmare and it's so slow. I could have gotten a job in McDonald's 6 times.
Right.
So, it's also there's a reason why no one applies, because if you're applying for a $15 an hour job, or I think at that point it was $12 an hour, and it takes 6 months to get, through the process, that doesn't work.
Hear you.
So anyway, but that's not your issue, but I will just say, I don't think it's as simple as, oh, no one's applying. I think it's also not advertised. And then and when somebody does apply, they have very rigid schedules in terms of when they'll see you. So I can be, I can talk about the past, but I really did apply to go through the process to see how it went. And it was, we can even advertise locally. I think maybe we could advertise through some, through the PTA or that type of thing to send the word out. Who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the suggested possible solutions was that we would have a parent or staff members will definitely be out there for a lot of reasons, but that we could have some sort of sign up where people could volunteer for a couple of minutes, once a month. Like if, we do, our families are wonderful. So anytime we ask for support, they always support us, and ensuring safety is one thing I'm sure parents will sign up for. And so if we have kind of like a sign up where they can help us with traffic and getting the kids across the street safely, that's fine. Another update is the DOT representative also mentioned that as soon as the construction is done around the school and the condo, that the street at Greenwich will return to be a two-way street. It's currently one-way heading southbound. But then it ends right on Edgar. So you have to, if you're going southbound on Greenwich, you have to make a left onto Edgar Street. You can't continue straight, or else that would take you into the tunnel onto oncoming traffic. So that they did say that they could easily put school no parking during 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. or something, so all around the school. So the 3 sides of the block. So on Greenwich, on Edgar, and on Trinity, they're going to put a bunch of signage that says school parking, and that's where buses will drop off and pick up kids. I do envision a lot more bus riders than in previous years because of the move to the financial district, and because we do have lots of families who are eligible due to the distance that they live from the school and or the number of students at a potentially new bus stop. And so that was an easy thing for them to approve. And then the last thing is Laura and I, my parent coordinator, had submitted an application for a partial street closure. So the northbound side of Edgar going east would be closed during school hours, which would just give us more space. It's essentially extending the sidewalk out, so we would have more space to just, for pickup and drop off. We are having a 3K program next year, a new program. And so, I assume some of the students will use strollers in 3K if parents are in a rush to get their kid to school, or they have other kids. And so, I'm pretty pleased by it. I hope that everything we asked for and kind of agreed to come to fruition. I think we'll see as time goes on. But again, I'm new to all of this, so I'm just kind of figuring out this landscape.
And so, Nico, this is Wendy again. So the meetings that we started having when the school overcrowding task force still was in existence, the closing the northbound Edgar was supposed to be permanent and was supposed to be a sidewalk. Because they said at the time when they were building the building that there was a electrical or some sort of box that had to extend into the street anyway. So to get, I mean, I understand like to close it during school hours, that's good. But honestly, what we were discussing and talking about years ago, and it's in many meeting notes, and Gail Brewer was there, and Sheldon Silver was there, and lots of other, Trisha and I were there. I mean, this is how many years ago, over a decade, I bet. And we were talking about closing that and making that a permanent sidewalk. So,
That'd be great. That would be awesome.
I mean, I'm just, it's what I was talking about earlier, is that none of these issues are new to them. This has literally been discussed since PS 150 almost closed the first time around, or I guess the second time around. I just, so I'm glad you're making progress, but Trisha can pull up some of the notes and the resolutions we've written, but these are not new issues to these, to DOT, and they know all of this. So it's just amazing to me. So I'm sorry you have to go through it, because we really tried to do so many things proactively ahead of time. But
my biggest fear is that whoever will wait until there's something that happens before responding.
Correct.
And I don't even want to like say what those things could be. I don't want to put it out there. And I don't want to think about it, but that is my greatest fear, is that if something happens, then they'll move fast. But you're right, it's proactive, and we've heard it, like, you've been flagging these issues for years. So thank you.
Can I say something? Can I say something? I want to ask, is there any problem with, until there's a crossing guard, if and when there's a crossing guard, having parents getting parent volunteers?
No, and actually Betty had mentioned a school principal nearby who has this process down pat.
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure, but I have a belief in the back of my mind that they have parent volunteers at the Peck Slip School.
Oh yeah, and there's a Betty. What's the school you had mentioned near? I don't have my notes on me, but there's a school nearby.
Yes, no, it's Titus School.
Oh, Titus
on
School.
John Street.
Yeah, Titus School is a private school
Private,
for
right.
kids with special needs. It's right around the corner from where we live, and John Street. It's on John Street. It gets backed up every morning. When we were on the way to PS 150, we would pass right by it and see the situation. So I don't doubt if there's no crossing guard available, but the PTA, lots of people would volunteer for the PTA.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
Sorry,
Can
I believe, because I live in front of the Titus School, I believe, and we signed as a board and all of the boards on John Street to make John Street a shared street for the Titus School.
That's correct.
And that's what's supposed to be happening for that school.
well, all I can say is I know from personal experience. We live on Gold Street, right around the corner from John Street, and we would go every morning from our apartment. We would take our son to PS 150, and John Street is a pretty narrow street, and plus there's construction going on right next to the Titus School, and they would have these buses that would drop off the kids, and it would work. I mean, they would take the kids and drop them off, but basically when the buses would drop off the kids at the Titus School, the traffic would back up on John Street. People get annoyed. This is New York. This is Manhattan. Words would be exchanged, not by me, but by other people. But because anyway. But that's neither here nor there. The issue is on the new school. Number one, I'm certain that that the PTA could get volunteers to work as crossing guards. My wife is going to be one of the vice presidents of the PTA, and she's out of town right now. But I'm sure, knowing all the people on the PTA, that they'll be happy to supply volunteers until there's a crossing guard. Number two, as far as the street on Edgar Street, when I went down there, that's what I saw is that essentially a lot of the traffic would come down Greenwich Street and turn left on Edgar Street in order to go back up on Trinity Place. And I don't know if it's still ongoing because the last I went down there was the end of June before the last meeting that was scheduled. There was a number of ongoing construction projects, including the building, the residential building and the school. And I think there were a couple of others. So the problem was that the big construction vehicles would come down Greenwich Street in order to go back up on Trinity Place, and they would be making that turn on Edgar Street, which I mean, if you're closing off I mean, there's 2 lanes on Edgar Street, and I forget whether it's if it's 2 ways. I don't think it would be 2 ways, although it might be because people can come up Trinity Place. So if you close off the north side of the street, then people can't turn.
Can't go westbound.
Can you go westbound there?
No, that's what they're closing. It's the
Yeah,
westbound
that's right.
lanes.
Yeah. But you're still going to get possibly get big trucks and construction deliveries coming down Greenwich Street and turning eastbound on Edgar Street.
Correct, but let me make a couple of points that the DOT agreed to. One, they agreed to giving vests if there are parent volunteers, so at least they could use those to make themselves more visible while doing it. 2, the DOT cannot authorize, but they are not opposed. They kind of winked. The bus could certainly pull. There are 2 lanes that are eastbound. You're correct on that. The bus can pull over the line between and block both lanes.
Okay.
So the whole point of the crossing guard is not exactly accurate in that you don't want people squeezing by, which we saw today. We saw today big construction trucks coming around.
Exactly, that's
just right
exactly
over the
what
middle.
Yeah.
Well, no, they can just override the barrier. So the point is the bus has to position itself. It has to position itself to block both lanes.
And the other thing I would add, a lot of people, or some people anyway, people have cars, and some people don't like to have their kids on the bus. It requires the kid in the family to get up like almost an extra hour before to get ready to go to school because the bus takes so long. We knew kids who were taking the bus, and it would take them an extra 45 minutes to an hour to go to school or go home. So even though we were eligible for the bus, we never used the bus because it just was cut into the day too much. And then our son would come home and he would have to do homework, and it would just interfere with the day. So the bottom line is that I think it's necessary to anticipate that there are going to be people who might drop off and pick up their kids using cars, their own private cars. And there's also people you saw people use Ubers.
Hey guys, I would just like us to be mindful of time because we
Oh,
did
sorry.
start this meeting quite late, and we're double booked because we also have the transportation meeting, I believe, happening at 7. So I'd like to sort of keep us very succinct in our discussions. So I think, Morton, your point was that we need to allow for the potential of private parking for the parents for the school, correct? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I don't know about allow it, but I think it's a need to anticipate that that's going to come up as an issue.
Okay. Was that discussed at all, Betty?
There is no encouragement of parking or of moving around. In fact, one of the leading cause of students being injured is parents driving their kids to school. So in fact, if anything, they're advocating for blocking up more of the streets so that nobody can drive on them versus allowing parking or anything else. There is a parking lot there. If people want to drive and park in the parking lot, they're certainly free to do that.
And actually, one I recall, Nico, what is the name of the lady who was with you who was not a teacher?
Oh, that's Laura Cohen. She's our parent coordinator, but she
Yes.
wears a lot of hats in the school.
Yes, she was actually, we were discussing, she was talking about how there's a nearby parking garage that they had negotiated a special rate for parents for drop off. And she was curious, who owned the parking garage. Maybe there's a a way to use that parking garage as a way to do something similar. So, you know, there's certainly options there that have been employed with the current PS 150 for temporary, you know, standing using the parking garage in an area that may be a little bit more safer to do so without being as much of an inconvenience. So there's certainly opportunities there.
Actually,
The
if
parking
you go
garage
with your-
is
Morton, hang on a second. Hang on a second. From the walkthrough today, if everybody remembers, if it's a private car and they are going up Church Street, they will be able to pull alongside, driver's side, to the school to drop somebody off. It is a no stopping area over there, but it will be able to, as other things have dropped off there, like tour buses, you will be able to pull up and be able to drop off. There's not a place that a parent should get out of their car and leave their car. The school is specifically designed, and discussions were had that, you know, they've got lovely bicycle parking, and the discouragement of cars is the goal here. It is right by public transit. So between the parking garage, if people want to do that, if the old PC wants to make a negotiated deal with them, that's great too. But there's plenty of spaces, and that is not something we want to encourage at any point in that location.
Well, I'm not saying that it should be encouraged, but was the practice of a lot of parents at
Okay.
PS 150.
Yeah, let's
And I
keep moving on, guys, because we're really tight on time here. So one other question. So I'm not sure if I understand exactly what's going on with Edgar Street, because I know, as Wendy said, going, you know, back in time in our discussions, there was the expectation that the north side of Edgar Street would be closed, and theoretically Greenwich Street could have also been closed, since Rector Street actually is also a eastbound lane from Greenwich, which is a southbound lane. The same turn that's currently being done on Edgar could theoretically be done on Rector, and then they could go north on Trinity Place. Has that ever?
So there's 2 or 3 things that go on with this, and there were many changes since our task force meetings that were set a long time ago when Wendy was there. Greenwich Street will be put back to the way it was, which is 2-way from the tunnel exit up until Rector. So when the tunnel exit is open, there is an expectation that many of the cars may go up Greenwich, because that will be a 2-way street.
Okay.
All right. When the tunnel exit is closed, which will impact the buses, obviously, the buses will be able to park. They will make accommodations for the buses on Greenwich Street. Okay. Edgar Street, in terms of closing, did not have a definitive full closure allowance because the MTA prevented it from being closed, because the MTA needs a layover. Their buses for commuting come out of the tunnel and need a hub, which they use Church Street for.
AKA Trinity Place, yeah.
Correct. So the request that's being made to close the tunnel exit for the 45-minute to an hour period in the afternoon is being used as a test case to be able to accommodate the school and see where we go from there. Because the linchpin to the problem is the MTA.
Understood. Then my only other point would be that Edgar Street on the south side, which is currently 2 lanes of eastbound, it is 2 lanes. So theoretically, they could just divvy it up and still have 2 bidirectional, right? While still extending the sidewalk on the north side?
No,
No?
DOT has rejected that.
Correct.
I see. Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean that rejection will be the same in a year. It just means that that's the rejection we have today.
Okay. And that's with the DOT, not the MTA, that particular rejection.
The rejection was in part and parcel to requests and needs from the MTA.
I see. Okay. Understood. Okay, thank you. Nico, Morton, was there anything else on this one, or can we move on to the next?
No, this is great. Thank you all so much. And if you are moving on to the next agenda item, I'm going to,
Oh, actually, wait. Sorry, Max is here. Max, are you able to opine or give us an update? I don't know, Nico, if you even got into the building to see it. I know I hooked you up with Council Member Chris Marte's office. I don't know if that went anywhere.
Well,
I can-
Max is here now, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'll follow up with the council member and Caitlin and see, if they've been working on it, and if not, I'll, take charge of it and let you guys know.
Okay, thank you. So appreciated. We really need to get, at the very least, Nico in there.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely. I agree.
Rosa and everyone here, full transparency, I did receive a letter from the SCA saying that teachers, families will be able to enter the building and start setting up on August 29th. And so I did tell the teachers that, and they all had a collective panic about setting up their classrooms. And Laura and I are looking at the calendar to get parents and kids in ASAP before school starts, because I don't want them to be anxious about what the school building looks like the first day of school. Like, the first day of school should not be the first time they see the school building, in my opinion.
Agreed.
You
Yeah.
know? And so
Max, we really need your help to get Nico in there as soon as possible, just to have like a 30-minute look-see. That's all. He'll come, he'll have a hard hat, he'll have boots, he'll have everything, a safety vest if you want it.
Absolutely. Well, Rosa, we will definitely work on that because we did hard hat tours at Spruce Street. We did hard hat tours at 276. This is not unprecedented. This is not
No.
unusual. I was on some of those, so I know that this is possible.
there was word that Laura and I might be able to work in the new building, because I said I have to work. Laura and I work 12 months, so I need to work from somewhere. And they said that we might be able to get you in mid-July. Now it's mid-July, and we're gonna not have furniture beginning Thursday at the school. So Laura and I are gonna sit on the floor with our laptops and try to work, you know. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep you on the loop about when they let me in at least. But right now it looks like I pushed back on the August 29th date. It's firm. No one can enter until August 29th. That's teachers, that's parents, that's students, that's school staff. Although they said I might be able to get in sooner. We'll see.
Okay, so Tammy and Max, we're relying on you to get Nico in. Thank you. Next topic.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, Nico. Good to
Thanks,
see you.
Nico. It was good to see you today.
Okay. Lucian, how do you want us to do it? Because we sort of went backwards.
You can take it in any order you like.
Okay. Harbor School Pool and Gym update. And I'm going to assume Wendy probably is the most knowledgeable and able to lead us through this subject.
Flip over and read the text that. So hang on one second. Let me just flip to the text. Okay. So can you guys still hear me?
Yes, and see you.
Okay, good. It said, this is Trisha's note to me. She said, we had our meeting with SCA and they surprised us and came back with a significant revision to their initial drawing that had both the pool and the gym stacked upon each other inside the courtyard of the building 515. There were several drawings and we gave them our feedback. They asked that we hold off talking about specifics until our next meeting on July 22nd. But I would want to report that we have some forward motion on the situation, which was good news. So that's Trisha's notes. I don't know if anyone knows anything else. Are you guys?
Have a resolution? I feel like we're so short on information to entertain any kind of.
I think we have to wait till Trisha's here to,
Okay.
Sounds like there's going to be more on the 22nd of July that she's going to be discussing.
Okay. Awesome. That was quick. Okay, next one. High school admissions, possible resolution. Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, let's see how quickly we can get through this and still do it real justice, because this is a difficult one. And I do not know if anybody wants to chime in on this first that may be more knowledgeable about the subject. Anybody have a text?
I mean, this is a much bigger subject that we all need to, dive into. I can speak about my own personal experience having an 8th grader, but I think this is, there's a very good Facebook group. It's called NYC Admissions, and there's a wealth of knowledge of what people went through and the amount of people that did not get any at all, like placement after even the 12. It's actually surprising. So it's one of those things that, again, we need to, I'm willing to put a survey or a couple of things onto that Facebook page, but it's a much bigger subject that I think we need Trish also, because I know she was working on it a lot.
Trisha has some data that Lucian we shared about admissions because there was some number crunching and conversation that came through from Janine Kiley, who shares the data that was released at the end of June. I can give you just over thoughts on that if you'd like. Overall, high school enrollment was down less than elementary and middle schools. The District 2, which is where we sit as a community board, high school cohort is about 3 times the size of the middle and elementary schools. So the numbers of enrollment are not necessarily comparable. And District 2 high schools now import students from all over New York City. There is no more geographical preference. So, for example, Millennium High School, that used to be a preference for District 2 and designed for the Manhattan campus, for preference south of 14th Street from the 9/11 survivor community and families, is now citywide, and yet the Brooklyn Millennium is still Brooklyn. So we have a ton of high schools that are in Community Board 1, but they are not necessarily serving our local community. That is a bit of a problem that we consistently have, and families are not happy with, because they don't necessarily want their kids going an hour plus. There are several schools that have been opened recently that are not fulfilling the needs from the local community. So that is the stats Lucian has, and we've asked the borough president's office to help drill down data from the DOE. So about the requests and the unfulfillment or fulfillment thereof. So we will have more to share on that. I will say that the DOE did change their position on the wait lists for high schools. So originally they were going to give out new waitlist lottery numbers. They came back earlier last week and said that will not be so. So if you had a bad lottery number and were on a wait list, you retain the same lottery number. There is no redoing of the lottery system. And that's my high school update.
This is a question based out of ignorance, but because I'm not there yet. But isn't it a legal requirement that any student that would like an education be provided a public education, and therefore they have the right to a spot at their high school? Because I was bizarrely reading that there were high school kids that didn't get a spot, period.
There are kids who did not get a spot, but they will be guaranteed a spot someplace by the fall. There is no zoned high schools in our area. There are some zoned schools, I believe, other boroughs, but not here. So there's no, gee, if you don't get into whatever you're going to your zone, that happens only for elementary or middle. But it's also dependent on, there are students who put down their 12 choices and did not get into one of their choices. They will be assigned a school by the fall, whether or not it is a school that they chose.
Correct. Thank you.
Tammy, quick question. With the data collected, is there a way also to find out how many families that just opted out for went into private schools? Is there a way to collect that, or that's
The
different?
DOE has that, which we can certainly request. It will not tell you, however, there's no way to know whether people moved due to the problems with the high school process or went to private because of that, or they were planning on doing it anyway. And I don't, I hesitate to think, I'm pretty sure based on my own experience, that they're not asking for a lot of feedback. I mean,
all the families I personally know, they went into private because it was just too risky, and a lot went to Catholic school because of that. That's at least from, and I know a lot of them because of just like my son's age. So for me, at least, and it's not scientific or anything, but would be good if the DOE knows they're losing amazing families, especially the families that pump in money into the public school system. They're losing all of them to private school because of the way they've handled things the past couple of years.
I'm sure that is a segment of our community, and I am sure that the DOE does a lot of this.
I agree with Tammy's sentiment that anytime you brought that up in the past about families that were involved or, very active in the PTA or very active in, all of these providing the extras for the schools, the DOE really doesn't want to hear that. And which I have experienced. I think that the issue is the idea of going away from the District 2 preference to making everything a citywide and not doing the same in Brooklyn and Queens. And I don't know about the Bronx or Staten Island. That was, that is a very difficult thing to, for some families to know that they might not get matched in any District 2 school. Wouldn't you say that? I don't know if everybody else feels the same.
There are many issues with this process. It's changed so vastly in 4 years. I mean, you all know I have the difference in 4 years between my eldest and my youngest going to school. When my eldest applied to school, the timeline was you applied by the end of January, you got your match by March, and you knew whether you got into a specialized high school or what from your 1 through 12s you had in March, which was on the same timeline as the Catholic schools and the private schools. So everybody made a decision. And then if you were on a wait list, you knew you were on a wait list, and things were done very early in the process. So by the time the school year ended, everyone had, for the most part, some kind of solution. That is not the way it went this year at all. It's actually gotten degenerated is the right word, I think, down to a level that is completely untenable for families. The matches and the conversations went out in June, so late that it didn't give families an opportunity to have robust conversations, robust dialogues, and people still don't know where they're going in this July 12th.
Can I ask a question?
The situation is broke.
Is there any sense that this might change going forward with the the new chancellor come in? He hasn't been in there all that long, and now the mayor has got his control of the school system renewed.
Hope springs eternal. That's all I'm going to say.
I know, but has anybody said anything about that? And what is the role of Kelly McGuire as the district head?
The answer has been they're working to make changes for next year. But that is what they've said every year, and it is gone. So I'm curious. The changes they have made thus far in the last 4 years have not done anything for the process to be less causing of consternation and anxiety for the constituency. So if last year becomes rock bottom and we do better, then I'm hopeful that we will be able to go up from there. That's my only comment.
Thank you. Unless anyone has
Hopefully
further-
we can advocate for some positive change. Maybe I'm naive and new to this.
No, Morton, I think that has to be the next meeting with Trisha, as I think
Yeah.
which is where Rose is going.
Yeah, exactly. I think that this is such a large topic that we need to wait until Trisha is back, and I think that we will absolutely have a resolution on that. And so it is 7 o'clock on the dot, unless there are any further comments or questions, and I see no hands raised. Then we are going to turn this over to our transportation committee. On time. Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
On time and on budget.
Rosa, thank you.
Thank you, Rosa.
Thank you all. Share the load.
Recording is shutting down.